And we have even more plants for the wood. This right here is the Hygrophila pinnatifida, and I will place it, I think at least this piece, I have another one right here, and just glue it onto the wood in this case. That should look good. So the other parts of the Hygrophila pinnatifida have grown like in a long structure, so maybe we will use them later, but now we will go on with an Anubias Nana Petite, and this one is actually pretty big already, so I will break it apart. In the next step we will go on with the moss, in this case the weeping moss. I will place it around these sticks so it will grow downwards, which will look create a very nice look, I think. I'm pretty excited about that. Well, eventually the moss tends to fall apart completely, so I will have to catch all the pieces afterwards, hopefully all the pieces. But in general you should remove all the tiny pieces laying around in the tank, but I'm just not able to because it's so much. So, and now for the Hydrocotyla tripacea. This will go up here. This is the plant that will cover the rest of the plants, hopefully, because I want to create a tree looking structure in here. Like these are the leaves covering everything else in the jungle forest. I actually have some more of it, so I can place it somewhere else too. Well, I have a whole pot of this left, but basically I don't know where to put it. Like over here we have the moss, the Anubias, Hygrophila, no, some more Anubias, the fern, no, some more moss. I don't have any space left, I think. But this grows pretty bushy, so that should work out pretty fine. And I will keep the other part. Not sure what to do with it. Maybe for another tank. So I will fill up the water, I think till here, and then there are going to go some more plants in the back. I will explain that later. So what we've got for the back are some pieces of Hygrophila siamensis B, and these are actually immersed grown in one of my tanks. So I found out I have to put them immediately underwater, otherwise the plants will dry out and die. So if I plant them underwater, they will grow roots and continue growing, but for that the tank had to be flooded. So, and now for the CO2. If you follow my videos, you may have heard of me using biological CO2, and I will now explain to you how I create that. So in this bottle right here, I just used this bottle because it's pretty thick plastic and it has this cover here where I can connect an airline hose. And yeah, in here that is actually cake glaze. You know, that stuff you put on a cake with fruit on it. And I used about 250 grams of sugar, then 250 milliliters of water, and the package of cake glaze, of course. And I let it cool down a little bit and then fill it in this bottle. So now it's a gel type of thing. Yeah. On top of that goes the yeast. You know, yeast is a type of mushroom actually, and this will create CO2 while turning this and the sugar with the help of some water into alcohol. So the yeast grows, it will create alcohol in here and CO2 that will go into your tank. this is a pretty easy and cheap method to create your own CO2. So I always just can recommend doing this. And I fill the bottle like up here with water, put the yeast in, shake it a little bit so it spreads out, and then you connect the airline hose to your diffuser, and within about 1 to 2 hours it will start creating CO2. So this is what the finished scape looks like. Unfortunately, you may hear it, the filter does a little bit of noise because there's still some air stuck in it, but that will eventually go out of there. And yeah, now we only have one last thing to do: add some filter start. This is the Dupla Bacter, I don't know, it's a German name and a German brand, so these are microorganisms for nitrification, which means there are beneficial bacteria in this bottle. We add them to the system, they will grow inside of the filter and jumpstart the tank, so we won't have too much algae issue if this works out. Over there I hooked up the diffuser for the CO2. It will start running in a couple of hours, I think. And yeah, we didn't have any floaters so far, which is pretty cool. All the carpeting plants are still inside of the ground, and even the moss sticks pretty good to the wood. There are some pieces swimming around, but nothing too bad. So I will add the filter start, and then we are completely finished. So that was the junglescape. Hopefully you liked it. I created a complete mess in my room. Now I have to clean up, but it doesn't matter. I'm pretty happy with the results. The filter stopped doing any annoying noises. Pretty nice. And yeah, now I will give the plants some time. I think about 3 to 4 weeks to grow in. Especially the in vitro cups, they grow really fast, so that should be cool. The filter just started to make a noise again. Well, and yeah, after that we will see what I will put in there. I think because now I have some nice experience with amano shrimp, I will put some of them inside there to keep the amount of algae low. You know, the light on this tank is pretty bright, so they should be helpful. And yeah, as I said, hopefully you liked it and enjoyed it, and you learned something maybe about the biological CO2. I think I will do a separate video on that later, but yeah, leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you want to. We see us on the next video.